Hello and welcome to the Got Invention Show. I'm your host, Brian Freed, and today our guest is inventor Danny Kass. He is the inventor of, you see right behind him, the Liddle Speaker. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an exciting day to be on your show.
Great. Danny, tell us who you are and where you're from and what do you do for a living?
My name, everybody calls me Inventor Danny, and I'm from the Thumb Coast region in Michigan. I am an entrepreneur and an inventor of the Liddle Speaker.
Okay. Well, so this little speaker, I see in the background, you have some lady throwing it up in the air like she's very excited to use it. So before we get into what the product that you came up with, it's actually a product available for sale, which is great. So tell us what the problem was and why you kind of felt like you needed to create this product.
Well, it's a great question, Brian, right out of the gate. First thing we did is the biggest problem with speakers is they only sit on tables, countertops, and that's it. So wherever you put them, they sit, right? So we came up with a magnetic speaker that allows you to stick it anywhere, and I mean anywhere, on metal to wood, plastic, glass, and I can walk you right through it.
So you had this problem where you had these speakers that were kind of portable. And did you try those out and just say, these aren't doing it for me? Or maybe they're falling off or they're not sticking to where I want. I want to do other things with them.
Absolutely. One of the biggest problems I had with my speakers is no matter where I put it, I can never find it again because someone else moved it, right? So the cool thing about our little speaker, which is in my hand right here, it magnetizes to anything steel. So that's a steel plate, and there it is right on there, right? But not only does it magnetize my steel plates, it goes on the back of my phone and turns it into a kickstand. That is the very first one, Brian, to
Wow.
magnetically attach to a phone. So our
What's
speaker attaches
interesting,
to anything.
what's interesting also is that this website that you have shows the different types of uses for it, which I think you did a great job with these screenshots. I don't, you have on the beach, you have sitting right next to you, you have where it turns into a speaker. And oh, even sand is getting thrown on it, and it looks like it's still protected. So it looks like it. Hopefully, it's waterproof and sandproof there.
It is actually water resistant, and it's got a dustproof cap. So if I take it to the beach, and I got a plate of sand right in front of me right here, I can just throw the sand right on it, and it will not harm it. So yeah, it's a
Wow,
dustproof cap.
that's great. And I see different colors. Very nice, Danny. So you had this problem, and then you came up with this idea for this little speaker. Now, most of the time, us inventors are coming from some other type of profession. So, and we kind of take this idea and we turn it into a side hustle. Hopefully, we turn it into a business. So, what's your background, Danny?
Yeah, real early on, I was out in the field of electric, right? I hit my apex real early at a young age. I got my master's and stuff, and then I got bored. I'm being honest. I got bored, and I wanted to get more into engineering and stuff. And I was fortunate. My phone rang out by a headhunter. They got my name, and they asked me if I understood AC and DC, which I did. And I was one of the very first guys to work on the electric cars back in the year 2000 in Japan. So it wasn't just me, there was a team of us, but I was happy to be a part of that team, and that taught me to be a reverse engineer.
And that probably helped you with your background to come up with an electronic type of item like the little speaker.
Absolutely did. If it wasn't for all those mentors that I had, I would have never been able to recognize my weakness. They showed me my strength, and I flourished into inventing products in automotive, non-automotive products, entertainment industry, and here we are with our little speaker. So, yeah, we have patents in audio, video, and electronic charging technologies.
Now, I know you have other inventions, but let's focus on the little speaker in that journey today.
There you
So,
go.
you had the problem, you had the solution, you got really excited at that point. What did you do first?
Well, the first thing, I know originally we had another product that we actually had the speaker molded into the bottom of it. And that product never got fully tooled because of the pandemic, right? So we were sitting at home, and a customer actually reached out to us in the recreational vehicle industry and said, "Is there a way that you can make that product remove from your platform?" It was a shelf, right? And so we had a lot of time on our hands. The iPhone 12 was coming out at the time with their magnetic charging technologies. And so we just kind of bundled it all together and created the first speaker, like I say, that magnetically attaches right to your phone. I got to find the silver one. There's the silver, just so you can see a different color right there.
And Danny, so when you did figure this all out, and you said we a couple times, so who is the other person or team that you have, or is it your significant other?
Well, yeah, I definitely had my significant other help me just launch this thing to the market for sure. But no, there is a team of us that actually started on the Little Speaker. And, we couldn't meet in person. So what I did is I did a joint venture with a group, on international. And, we filed patents overseas and we filed our patents here. It was during the pandemic. All we could do was video calls, right? And shoot back and forth picture drawings, ideas, and that's how we did it. We just proved that we can work remotely and still invent cool technology from here I am, I'm in the basement of my home on my live show right now, right? So I can do it anywhere.
Well, you seem like you had the background, and it seemed like you were the leader of this technology that you were putting together. So, what did you do first, based on your experience and just kind of navigating through the invention kind of process? How did you start? Did you take apart another speaker? Did you evaluate other speakers to figure out how you can make this one better?
Well, what makes this very unique is, it's a space. As we go on in time, we become more minimalist, right? We want smaller things with bigger sounds, or we want smaller things to move around, right? And so that was part of the strategy too, because don't get me wrong, there's beautiful speakers out there, but they're big, bulky, and heavy, right? We wanted something portable that you could put in your purse and take it on the go, throw it in your bag, use it for work, right? So that's part of the big problems, because everybody made beautiful big speakers, but nobody made anything really small. And so what we did is started working on the compact size of our speaker. And I mean, it's tiny, but it's got a big mouth because we have an enhanced bass. And so, Brian, if you look at the housing on this real quick, you can see this one's kind of shaped like a bell. So we captured all that energy and made it explode. Think of a bell when you ring a bell. That was part of the making it burst out the top that nobody's ever done. They're all square, right? So we made ours look like a bell. And that's one of our claims.
Speaking of claims, now there are portable speakers out there. And you said that what makes yours unique is that it's portable and it can magnetize onto different types of items. So is there more? I understand the
Absolutely.
bell shape.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
tell us.
Yeah. So this is the very first speaker to have, and I'm going to bring it up close to the camera. The magnets are built inside the housing. So we were able to put a magnet inside the housing that didn't create interference with our speaker, our printed circuit board. It's inside. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody else made a magnet and they stuck it on the outside. So we were able to stick ours internally in the housing and penetrate through the plastic and still stick on, like I say, anything that's steel, because this is a steel plate, right? There it is, right there.
When you're putting this on the back of a phone, some people think that a magnet to the back of the phone is going to damage the device. Is that the issue? I know that now there's ways to just charge up your phone just by putting it on one of the chargers, but is that
Yeah.
causing an issue?
No, so many years ago, hard drives were built into everything, right? So there's no hard drives in our phones today. And so the magnetic chargers actually attach the same way in the same spot. So it doesn't hurt it. It's right there. It's compatible with the charging area.
Very cool. Tell us about your journey as an inventor, because it's so exciting when you see your product the way it is right now. But I'm sure it wasn't all just a smooth ride. It seemed like number one, you were challenged with the pandemic to get through it. And then you were looking for resources to be able to connect with to get it to the next level. So, when you did say that one of the first things you did is kind of connect up with some other people to get them involved in the project. What
Yeah.
happened after that? What was the kind of journey and the next step of what you needed to do?
Well, that's a great question. So once we developed it, right, we were just coming out of the pandemic. I mean, it was still fresh as ever. People were just coming out. You couldn't attend trade shows unless, you're vaccinated and stuff. And, so the market wasn't fully back to normal, nowhere near. But what we did is we did the TV show effect of, the Inventor show that says, hey, no matter what you invent, take it to the market and see if somebody will buy it, right? So here we are, just coming out of the pandemic. We took 1,000 of these units, Brian, to a show in Atlanta. And you know what, Brian? We sold out 1,000 of those units in 6 hours, and we wrote 80 additional purchase orders and had 2.5 days there.
Wow.
So we came home, we had boxes to the ceiling, and it was like, I think we got something. And that was a sign right there.
The development side of it, since you do have some electrical, you mentioned AC/DC type of background with your experience, was that easy to be able to get through the development side? There's also design side of it. So sometimes people are good with the inside, but the way that it should be designed, you might need somebody else. So this team that you made up, were they the other components of being able to get this product finished?
Yeah, there's no doubt. My partner that we done it with overseas, he played a big role in it. Because he's an audio guy, right? And so I'm an electronic guy. So you're right. What's my strength? What's his weakness, right? So we played off each other, and I started seeing visions of how this thing could work in many different aspects. And so that's how it all rolled out. But there was a team of us to put it together. I mean, we started with a CAD tool of just a 3D CAD. We 3D'd it, and then, hey, I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. And then we moved into our tooling. So that was a lesson learned by us in the past of buying tooling first. Never do that.
Well, you were the decision maker, it seemed like. And as you were going through, you finally, was it just the first time that you saw what you liked and just went with it, or were there different iterations of it till you got it to the way that you were looking for it to be?
When we launched the Liddle Speaker, the very first one right here, when we launched this one, we we obviously kept making little minor changes. And today we're actually working on another rev called the Liddle Speaker Pro, which is even more advanced. And so we're going through that same process again. And we just passed our audio test on our new speaker that's coming out for this fall. But the cool thing about it is we did have to make changes. There's always something minimal, the way that the speaker sits in there, and again, all that energy, because we put such a big amount of energy in here, it has to explode. And so when it does that, it's the vibration, right? And so if we didn't put a silicone bottom on the bottom of this thing would skate right across the floor, your table. So there's a lot of pieces that we had to tweak to get it there before we went into tooling. So
It seems like a lot of people don't really think about what it takes to make a finished product like you have in your hand and that works and other people are using for the same reason you came up with it. What are the pain points that you had in that development? What are some of the things that people don't know what it took to end up getting to the product that you have today?
the biggest problem that we had is because of the pandemic. I mean, it almost sunk us with capital, right? I mean, our company came to a complete stop for 2 years, and we were inventing technology, and raising capital. Well, all our capital providers, whoop, they split. They were gone, and so we had to figure out a way to crawl out, or we were going to lose it. That was probably the most painful thing. I thought I was going to lose everything over that, and we were able to pull ourselves together. I had to finance against my house again. And I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy, right? And I don't know what was going to happen because we're in a pandemic. But luckily, thankfully, we were able to pull out and emerge.
People wonder what kind of financial obligations there are when you're coming up with an invention. So you mentioned something that sounds like it was a decent amount that you put in. Some people do things and come up with ways on a shoestring budget. some people might start off with a small run, maybe to be able to just modify something that already exists and put their name
Yep,
on it and be able to sell it. Why do you
absolutely.
think that it costs so much for you? Well, again, so much is all relative to what that means to everybody watching and listening. But why did you have to go there and refinance or take capital out of your equity of your house?
That's a great question. And if I had to do it all over again, Brian, I believe I'd take all my lessons learned, and I wouldn't want to borrow money from anybody ever again and do it, and I'd do it more smarter, because again, as an engineer, we're kind of perfectionists too, right? I mean, we're trying to put everything together, and you don't have to have it right the first time. One thing I learned, right? Get it to the market, and then you can make another rev and another rev, just like the iPhone, right? I mean, the phones, they just keep changing it's here we are on the 12, 13, 14, 15, right? Every year. So we can do the same thing. So like I say, get it to the market as fast as possible, as cheap as possible. Keep all your equity and your money and go. And those are some of the things that I've shared on stages where I speak in front on panels at trade shows. People invite me and I speak on panels and I tell them how I did it. And again, once you understand your strength and your weaknesses, you can move the football a lot faster.
Absolutely. So, Danny, here's your website. And before we get into more of the kind of the patent process that you went through, let's just take a look. So, you have the little speaker here. It goes on to any phone, I guess, at this point that has some kind of magnet in the back to do wireless charging. So, instead of the wireless charging, we can put your speaker behind it.
Yeah, you can turn your phone into a kickstand. What's cool about it, Brian, is so the little speaker, it'll magnetize to the back of my phone directly. But not only does it magnetize to my phone, it'll magnetize to my phone case. So there's the magnetic phone case for the iPhone one, right? And then, but what's going on right now is actually this is a Samsung case right here. So you can magnetize it to them cases now too. So they're working on putting that inside their phones itself. The magnetic charging is a new standard that came out, and it launched in January of 2024. You've seen a lot of products coming out in it. So it's going to be in everything, because when you think of charging anything, the vibration, if your phone's going off and vibrate, it could come off the charger. So by having a magnetic charger, it allows you to stick, and same as our speaker. It just sticks right to it. Like I say, it'll go to either. Yeah, I'll show you both. So that right there is the Samsung, and that's the Apple. So they're both available.
You think or you figured out at this point that the main focus or the main reason people are buying it is to attach to the back of their phone and stand and use the speaker? Or is it something that they're keeping in their purse, they're keeping it on their desk, they're keeping in their kitchen? What do
Yeah.
you think is some of the highlighted real focus of why people are using it?
I think people are amazed that we can attach to the back of a phone a speaker and turn it into a kickstand. Everybody loves kickstands so they can watch their little movies or whatever. But you can do audio books, you can do music, you can watch movies, you can sit there and watch a webinar, anything, right? And so there's so many features, but it's not just for your phone. You can use it on your tablet, your computer, your PC. And people love it in the kitchen because they can listen to music, or they can call up, I need a recipe, right? And it will pull it up and tell them, or whatever it is. So it's really nice to have. It's a great feature, but taking it traveling for business like I do, it's perfect. All right, but if you're going to the beach, it's water resistant. It's got a dustproof cap. And the other thing that it comes with, Brian, in the box we give you these two little rings. Okay, they're sticky, and you just peel them off, right? So watch this. So I'm gonna put one right here on my shirt, right there, right? I think it's right there. So, so the cool thing about it is, I'm gonna take my speaker and I'm gonna put it right on my shirt. There it is. Fit.
Oh, hold
So,
on one second. Let's see that.
so I put this little ring on my shirt. Again, it's just peel and stick. You just peel and stick. They're sticky on one side. See, I got it on my finger right now. So, and I put one right on my shirt. And there it is, right there, the speaker. So you can attach the speaker to wood, plastic, glass, fabric. I have people that put it in their shower and they just move it around. They'll get ready in the morning. They got their music or they're listening to their podcast right there in the shower, the news. And then they go to the kitchen. They got it in the kitchen, stick it on the refrigerator, the microwave. Again, I put this ring, Brian, on my kayak and I float down the river.
That's
And people are
great.
like, where's that music coming from?
That's great. And people don't realize there's no wire. It's wireless, so it's Bluetooth that you have in
Correct.
the technology within the speaker, right?
Yeah, and the cool thing is we got a 5.0 in there, and we actually transfer data 2 times faster than old speakers, and we go 4 times the distance. So I can pair 2 of these speakers together. So if I wanted to pair this black one and this pink one together right here, right? I can do that, and I get stereo surround sound. So we won the IBT award at Consumer Electronics Show with this, and
Congrats.
yeah, we were approached by a famous movie. I probably can't say, but the director, and they congratulated us, helped kickstart our sales.
Fantastic. The patent information that you had to go through and the different steps that you needed to take to secure it. At what point of the steps that you went through did you figure out that, hey, I have something here, I better protect it?
Yeah, well, this is a very great question because during our time of development, again, it was a pandemic. Everything was closed, so it was a different animal than I'm accustomed to with filing because nobody's working at the patent office. Filing is going through a change. And so we started developing this actually in October of 2020, right? That's when we started getting our
Right.
heads together. In March, we built that first little CAD prototype and said, I think it's going to work, right? And then we filed our patents, and we finally figured out a way to file everything because here it is, we just passed a year in the pandemic. And so we filed our patents, got it, everything filed. It was such a challenge, and it was just not normal for us because typically we just, hey, go see my patent attorney at his office, walk him through everything. It was just a challenge. So, but luckily we got everything in place. So
That's awesome. Just going through that because you were an electrical background guy and now all of a sudden you're getting into product development and you're getting into patents and intellectual property. What was that like for you going through that? Was it challenging? Was it easy? Did you have the right support?
yeah. For me, developing products, I've done it, with my corporate world. I developed new technology and products and stuff and understood manufacturing. Again, working in the automotive industry, that was some of the biggest challenges I've ever done, but it opened up my eyes to seeing how to build a car, which is very complex. And so that helped me. But again, finding the right partner that can help build on the manufacturing side was so important. So we were able to do that. And was it a challenge? Absolutely. Everything you do is going to be a challenge.
Mhm.
And the question is, are you taking the right steps? And I always tell everybody, hey, there's a whole ocean out there, but I can only drink a glass of water at a time, right? So take that one glass, get it done, move on to the next goal, right? It's a step process, and you got to. If you try to leap and bounds, you're going to make mistakes left and right, and it's going to cost you money that you don't need to spend. So it's just follow the process, and I think that's what's great about the show here. Us inventors been down this process, and we can share it with them, and so they don't make mistakes. And that's what I do. I share a lot of information with a lot of people.
That's great. So you have the product. Tell us where we can buy the product, and then also tell us what's next for you and or the little speaker.
Yeah. So the product's available at littlespeaker.com. There's a link right there. Buy it, and it'll take you to the major channel. But littlespeaker.com. What's coming next? So right now we got on our channel. We got our pink speaker. We got our black speaker, and then we got our silver speaker also that's out there right there. So what's coming next? Well, that's a great question. So we are entering the promotional product industry where we can put logos and stuff on speakers and stuff. So right here, I'll show you one. There you go. We printed a snowflake on the side of this one right there. So kind of gives you an idea what we can do. This one here, we did a wrap. We did a wrap right here. So we've been asked to do some movies, take a scene from a movie and wrap it. So that's a market that we're entering. And the other thing that's really cool that's coming out later this year, Brian, this is a good one. So right here, I got a wireless charger, right? This is one of my prototype speakers right here. It's in the color of blue. And we got a standard blue that's also available out there you can find. But watch this, Brian. My charger, my speaker. Right there. You see it? It just came on.
That's
So
great.
we put a wireless charger in our speaker to charge wirelessly. And look at that, Brian. All right. And not
And
only
you
did
can
we
take
do
it
that,
off and put it on your shirt.
Exactly. But not only that, Brian, we put a microphone in here that's coming out also to allow you to communicate. So if you're on the golf course, you could take a call on your golf cart now.
That's
so
great.
yeah, and again, you can put it on your shirt too. So there it is right there. So either way. So yeah, so that's coming out in the future. So the Liddle Speaker Pro will be out probably by late fall. But we have our standard unit, which is Rev 1, and then again, we have our more advanced unit also coming.
Fantastic. Quickly, just give us, I know you have along the way here during our interview, but just give some final words of wisdom to inventors, people out there with big ideas that they think about working on, or maybe they're stuck somewhere. Just give us some quick words of wisdom, Danny.
Yeah, I always tell everybody the same thing. Everybody's got a great idea, but don't ask your friends and family what they think of it, because they're not going to be truthful. They're going to tell you, hey, I love it, right? Do the same thing that we did. We developed a product. We took it to a trade show to see if people would open up their wallet. That's the most important thing right there, to see if they want it. Now, again, you could go with a prototype, because buyers are looking for new products. Innovation creates competitive advantage. So take it to the market, see if people will buy. Your focus group you don't have to hire a focus group no more. It's online. All right. Just ask people online, what's your thoughts on this? Would you buy it? Do a pre-sale to create cash flow. That's my mistake. I didn't do a pre-sale, and I wish I would have, right? Because I would have had more cash flow. And then you can worry about all the other stuff. And the most important thing is understand your strengths, because your time will be consumed in your strengths, and hire out your weaknesses. Let someone else help you that understand the weaknesses. And you need to be your own brand ambassador for your brand. Like I'm Inventor Danny for the Liddle Speaker. So don't let someone else try to write about your stories. Write it yourself, because you see the vision completely.
That's great advice, great information, and congratulations on your success and your continued success. So, Danny, real quick, tell us where we can buy the Liddle Speaker today.
You can get the Liddle Speaker at littlespeaker.com.
Easy as that. Thank you so much, Danny. We hope to see you back again on Got Invention Show with your latest, greatest inventions. If it's not the next version of Liddle Speaker, I'm sure it's something else that you're working on, because I know you always have something going. So it was great to learn about you and the Liddle Speaker. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, Brian. It's been a great pleasure to be a part of the Invention organization, and I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll speak to you again soon, Danny. Okay. Thank you. That was great and inspirational. And look at what he just thought of and brought to market. And that's what we need to do. And that's why we have this show, to keep your ideas moving forward. Doesn't matter who you are, just keep those ideas going. And soon, maybe other people will use it for the same reason you came up with it. Till next time, thank you so much, and keep moving your ideas forward.